podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Saturday, April 3rd, 2021. This is episode 1784. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by ExpressVPN. If you're like me and you believe your data is your business, nobody else's, secure yourself with the #1 rated VPN on the market, ExpressVPN. For 3 extra months free with a 1-year package, go to expressvpn.com/techguy. And by Simply Safe. Get simple, professional monitoring day and night. Right now, get a free security camera when you purchase a Simply Safe system at simplysafe.com/twit. You'll also get a 60-day risk-free trial. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography. We talk about smartphones. We talk about smartwatches. We talk about anything with a chip in it, computers, printers, peripherals. Phone number is 8888-ASK-LEO, 888-827-5536. It's the same thing. Those are fungible. 8888-ASK-LEO. I am a non-fungible tech guy, but those phone numbers are fungible. 88, well, actually, they're not, are they? Because if you call some other number, you'll get some other tech guy. You might get Jerry the tech guy. You might want Jerry the tech guy. I don't know. But you got Leo right now. Your personal tech guy. Website is techguylabs.com. I mention that because if you hear something on the show, you need not write it down. You need not hasten to pen and pencil or paper and write that, jot it down, because guess what? We've done that for you. Our scribe. We have a professional scribe, James Rufo. I see him in the corner. Writing. James is going to put that all at techguylabs.com. No charge, no sign up, no fee, wide open, the way the internet used to be. Paywall free. When you get there, you'll see each show has its own page. This is episode 1784. Yeah, a lot of pages. That's why I tell you the page. Turn to page 1784. And there you'll find 3 hours, 1, 2, and 3. Each hour will have 4 segments, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And somewhere in there will be the answer to your question. There's a good search, too, if you don't know, if you can't remember. It is, as somebody in the chat room says, Kilotech says, it's a premium website at no cost to you. 8888 Ask Leo. Massive, this was a bad week for tech news. Only say that because it's April Fool's Day. Was on Thursday. And I hate April Fool's Day. I really do. You're looking over your shoulder all day, aren't you? Google decided this week not to do April Fool's Day. They're going to skip right over it, go right to April 2nd. Google sent out a memo saying... this is not the year to do April Fools. They actually didn't do it last year either. It's the second year in a row. In 2020, Google wrote to their staff, we made the decision to pause our long-standing Google tradition of celebrating April Fool's Day out of respect for all those fighting COVID-19. I would submit also out of respect for all the poor tech journalists who had to figure out, is this true? With much of the world, Google goes on to say, still grappling with serious challenges, yeah, we will again pause the jokes for April Fool's Day 2021. Can I say that the jokes are the serious challenges? And you should just stop with the joking? Stop with the joking already. Don't need those jokes. Now, do you enjoy April Fool's Day? I guess, it's fun for the prankers, not for the prankies. And when it comes to April Fool's Day, the tech press is the prankies. Often these are not funny. They're just dumb. Google's, at least to their credit, were pretty funny. And also, and I think this is important, easily distinguishable from real. So they had in fact, if you go to Wikipedia, there's actually a page of a list of all the April Fool's jokes over 20 years. Well, 19 because they canceled last year. So since 2000, they started, light. But in 2002, they introduced Pigeon Rank. They're famous for how they rank pages. It's called Page Rank after Larry Page, and it's, nice because they're pages. Pigeon Rank, and they were hastened to add there was no animal cruelty in the process. I don't know. It goes on. That's probably enough. Google Gulp in 2005, a fictitious drink that would optimize one's use of Google's search engine by increasing your intelligence. Google Romance in 2006. Dating is a search problem, it said. Solve it with Google Romance. Google Prince Charming. 2007 Gmail Paper. I guess I must miss these Google pranks because I'm going through them all. The Toilet Internet Service Provider, a fictitious broadband service that would make use of standard sewage lines to provide free internet connectivity. Okay, it's going downhill now, isn't it? Now you see why I don't miss it. Thank you, Google. There were some April Fool's pranks. One was released 2 days before April Fool's. See, okay, just a tip. If you're going to do the April Fool's prank, you should do it on April 1st. Volkswagen put out a press release. They even said, this is not an April Fool's joke, which is also not fair play. They said, because we're going all electric, and that is true. Volkswagen has said by, I think, 2030, they aren't going to have gas vehicles anymore. That's Volkswagen and Audi. They're the same. So they said, so we're going to rename ourselves. It's no longer Volkswagen of America. It's Volt. Volt, get it? Volkswagen of America. Professor of business at Cornell, who is apparently a real stick in the mud, said, and this is not the sort of thing a responsible global company should be doing. So this is why I hate April Fool's, because it was Tuesday. And I thought, well, it can't be an April Fool's joke. It's a little weird, but they must mean it. Okay. They made a mistake. They released it early, I guess. April Fools. Okay, that's first of all rule number one. You don't do April Fools on March 30th. You don't know. You don't. Were there other April Fools? I don't know, because I don't, I'm just trying to avoid the tech news because I don't know what to believe. So, for instance, there was a story which did not make it to mainstream media. And I think it didn't make it to mainstream media because mainstream media was going, is this a joke? Is this a joke? It was, I don't even know if I should repeat this. Except that it was everywhere. Well, not in mainstream news. It was like, it was a bunch of university press releases, some tech blogs. I'm going to believe it. I think I'm going to believe it. Massive security breach at U.S. universities. A massive data breach has hit U.S. universities, including, and some of the biggest, best-known institutions in America: Stanford, University of California, University of Miami, University of Colorado Boulder, that's where my son went, Yeshiva University, Syracuse, University of Maryland in Baltimore. Hackers have stolen terabytes. That's 1 trillion bytes of prospective student, you don't even have to be a student, and employee personal information, including transcripts, financial info, mailing addresses, phone numbers, usernames, passwords, and social security numbers. Ooh. It's part of a larger leak of a piece of software called Excelion, FTA. if you even applied to those colleges and sent them personal or financial information, maybe for, a scholarship, so this is the new style with ransomware. You get in, you put a lot of encrypto bombs all over the place. They don't go off right away. You put them around. Those are the things that will encrypt all the data so that you can ask for Bitcoin. But then you also, before you set those little numbers off, you go around and you collect a lot of data, in this case, terabytes of information. And then you go to the university and you say, okay, you're going to either pay us because we've encrypted your data, and if you don't, for every day you don't pay us, we're going to release. They wanted $10 million in Bitcoin from each of the universities. Hello, says the email. Your network has been hacked. A lot of valuable data stolen. We are the CLOP ransomware team. Maybe it's a language thing, but that's not a great acronym. CLOP. CLOP. You can Google news and articles about us. We have a website where you can use that new Google's toilet ISP to do that, right? We have a website where we publish news and stolen files from companies that refuse to cooperate. We suggest you contact us via chat within 24 hours to discuss the current situation. We don't want to hurt. We don't want to hurt. Oh, they're nice hackers, the cloppers. We don't want to hurt. Our goal is money. Okay. Well, they didn't get money. These Excelion FTA is a server. It's a vulnerable, apparently, server, and the bad guys took advantage of it to get into a lot of places, including all those universities. But they have started releasing information. Colorado, I don't think this is an April Fool's joke. Colorado University notified. If you have to, by the way, the law now, which is, thank goodness they passed this law, is you cannot hide this. You cannot bury it. You must announce, I think within 72 hours, if you have a data breach, if you learn of a data breach. So Colorado University Boulder sending out notifications. While the full scope has not yet been determined, this is from their breach notification. Early information from the forensic investigation confirms the vulnerability was exploited and multiple data types may have been accessed, including CU Boulder and CU Denver. Student Personally Identifiable Information, PII. Prospective student, people who applied, personally identifiable information. Employee, PII. Limited health and clinical data. Oh, well, that's a relief. Study and research to everything. The Clop Gang, the Clop Gang began to post screenshots of the stolen data, including university financial documents, student grades, academic records, enrollment information, biographical information. So I hope if you are a student of one of those universities, if you were a student of one of those universities, Henry, if you are applying to those universities, because this was the season. If you're a high school senior, look for a notice. By the way, Clop also got to other users of Excelion, including Kroger, the Reserve Bank of New Zealand, the Australian Securities and Investment Commission, Singtel, Singapore Telecom, QIMR Berghofer Medical Research Institute, and the Office of the Washington State Auditor, plus Shell Oil. Any one of those be worth $10 million. Wow. Operator Kim Schaffer, the Unbreakable phone angel, she's the one who'll be answering your calls. Kim, I don't know if you noticed, but I am dressed in Easter colors.
Yes,
I look like a giant
are.
Easter egg.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, baby blue.
Maybe
and
I'll do
rose.
Easter tomorrow.
You are dressed like a modern art painting.
I'm not sure what that is.
You look good. No, it's pretty, but if you did an Easter egg like that, I'd say you're kind of a goth.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, because it is kind of blood red.
A gothy Easter egg. So happy weekend.
Happy 4-3-2-1.
What? This is
the
4-3-2-1?
final countdown. Yeah, it's 4-3-2-1.
Now you know what's going to happen.
I don't know what's going to happen. What's going to happen?
Professor Laura
she's
is
gonna
going to be playing that song. 4-3-2-1.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. It's a thing.
It's a thing. So let me talk to somebody who should.
Yeah.
Don't
So
have a lot of time,
I've off the air. I've given William Julian's website, but
good.
it's a call about blind accessibility.
Okay.
So William on line 1.
William on line 1. Thank you, Kim. Hello, William, all the way from Pendleton, Oregon.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you. Well, I had a question about accessibility, but also complexity.
Yes.
And late 90s, I was into Red Hat and Linux. I'm
love it.
blind now.
Oh, you weren't blind then?
I had limited vision.
Okay. So you were able to use it just fine.
Only vision out of one eye.
Okay.
So I don't know depth perception. I have no memory of that.
The good thing is Linux has no depth. it's flat. It's 2D.
Well, and that was the beautiful thing, right? Is that Linux you could build on top of.
Right.
And that's what I loved about Red Hat. But some things happened, and tech moved on.
Yeah.
And tools weren't built for me. They were built with the assumption of what I needed.
Oh, that's interesting. It's one of the reasons I don't
complexity was put in that wasn't fully thought about because the people who were designing it were sighted.
Which is exactly why I generally defer on accessibility questions to people like Julian, who I'm glad you have his number, because I'm not blind. And so it is very hard for people who have sight or have hearing or, whatever, to understand what's needed. I always defer to blind folks because they can say, no, you know what, that seems like it would work, but it doesn't. So their accessibility on Linux is probably not as refined. This is true of Linux in general. You probably remember this from your Red Hat days. It's not quite as refined as accessibility is on the commercial distributions. Apple and Microsoft have really done a lot to focus on accessibility. Do you use a smartphone?
I do. I have a Pixel 3.
And does it work all right? Are you able to use it and all that?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. But that's the other thing is you just got a new Mustang with a big screen in the car.
Well, you shouldn't drive when you're blind. Be tip number 1.
Right.
I don't mean to be facetious, but
what if I'm a passenger?
Yeah.
Blind?
Yeah. That's an interesting point.
You use the stereo.
There's no screen reader. There's no buttons.
Me out the process.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I wish companies would pay more attention to that. We've got to take a break. Scott Wilkinson coming up. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So I'm still on. We're on the podcast, but just not on the radio.
Yeah.
So I agree.
But you're one of the voices. And this last year has been, no, I'm not going to believe anybody who is cited.
Yeah, because we're not experts. And it's not for lack of trying. It's merely that we just, I could put on a blindfold and for a while I could kind of experience what it's like. I've done that.
But
it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
No, because you have visual memory.
Right. So Gnome, the Gnome project, has attempted to address this. They have a built-in screen reader. They have a magnifier. They have high contrast mode. They have mouse keys and sticky keys. They're trying, in other words, to do a lot of the things that Windows does.
Yeah.
There's an on-screen keyboard. If you can't type it, you can use a mouse. There's visual cues. But again, I'd love it if you would give it a try, given you've used Linux. So, I wouldn't, if somebody's a Windows or Mac user, I wouldn't push them into Linux if they're blind. But maybe this would be worth trying. There's also and one would expect this because there's so many Linux distributions. There are a couple of Linux distributions designed with speech on by default and with applications that are known to be accessible. So there is an attempt to do this. Probably done, I would hope done by blind people. You know, we had a visitor to the studio a year or so ago who is going to work for Microsoft. He's blind. And I said, that's great, because I know other accessibility experts who are sighted, and it's hard for them to really appreciate it. So I also think because Linux can be used entirely from the command line, if you had a screen reader and a command line, it might be I would say more usable than any GUI, right?
Right. And that's, like I was talking to my life insurance agent, and we were talking about tech and interfaces and UI, UX. And what you have done in the tech world has taken all tactile away. And it's a major problem.
Right.
Because sure,
right.
You can, Ant can manipulate a picture on a screen with a finger.
Right.
But and he gets the joy of it. But tech has taken all of the tactile away.
Right.
Even the keyboards.
Right.
I have a Bluetooth keyboard that I use with my phone.
Well, this is an interesting question for accessibility experts. This is a very interesting question.
Well, it's for you because you are getting older. I've heard you talk about how you're losing vision. But we don't want to face the fact that life without vision, we just can't imagine how we would do it. So we turn our back on it.
Right. On the other hand, you wouldn't want to develop everything so that it would be fully... I mean, I think, touch is a great affordance. The fact that it's not useful for blind people doesn't mean we shouldn't do it, right? Or do you feel like we shouldn't do it?
There's patents on digital Braille displays, but nobody can use them because it's all tied up in copyright.
Yeah, that's
so. No, you've taken any ingenuity of 3D modeling and manipulation to a flat surface.
Right.
And this is why I bring it to you. I have been in this game for 25 years in tech. I hate
to cut you off. I gotta do this show, and unfortunately, I don't have any more time because, as you can hear, the theme. But I am sympathetic, and I will do what I can, but I can't be an advocate. You should. Our show today brought to you by ExpressVPN, a virtual private network. Even saying a virtual private network sounds good, doesn't it? And it could be good if you get the right virtual private network, right? A few decades ago, private citizens used to mean you were private. I'm a private citizen. Well, the internet's changed everything. Think about what you use the internet for, what you browse, what you search for, what you watch, what you tweet. Some of those things you might prefer they stay your own business. But in an era when everyone is online, it's important to protect yourself. That's why you want to use ExpressVPN. It's the only VPN I recommend. It's the one, right? See, you can use a VPN, but you have to remember the VPN sees everything you're doing. So you want to choose a VPN that regards your privacy as a sacred right, that protects you as much as you wish to be protected. A lot of VPN providers are worse than your internet service provider, not ExpressVPN. They go the extra mile to make sure they cannot keep track of what you're doing. When you first push the button, and by the way, ExpressVPN comes on every device known to man, even smart TVs. You can even put it on your router. When you first turn it on and choose that server spins up in RAM only what they call the trusted server. It is sandboxed. It can't write to disk. It's running in memory. And when you log out, it's gone, and there's no trace of your visit to ExpressVPN. Nothing. Zero. You are not being logged. That's what you want. That's not what your internet service provider is doing. With ExpressVPN, your connection, because it's rerouted through that no logging encrypted server, your IP address is masked. Now when you go out to the real world. Google doesn't see your IP address. They see that ExpressVPN IP address. Very easy to use. One button. It's even easier if you put it on your router. Then the whole family's protected. They won't even know. And they won't know because ExpressVPN is fast. That's the other thing. They invest in their network to make sure you can get HD speeds so you can watch high-definition video. You can do everything you do, and you don't slow down. That's ExpressVPN. If you believe your data is your business, you need to secure yourself with the #1 rated VPN on the market, the only one I recommend, expressvpn.com/techguy, EXPRESS. They spell it out. I like that too. They spell it out, expressvpn.com/techguy. Right now, you'll get 3 extra months when you sign up for a 1-year plan. That's the best deal, at less than $7 a month. That's a really good price. And again, there are free VPN providers. I'm not saying you can't get a better deal, but you really have to consider how are they monetizing? And are they investing in their network? I think $7 a month is well worth it for the best. expressvpn.com/techguy. Protect yourself, protect your privacy. expressvpn.com/techguy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. What is hip? Tell me, if you think you know. This is the guy, Scott Wilkinson, home theater geek. Actually, usually geek and hip don't go together, Scott. I'm not
sure they do.
Not gonna say
of course they do.
Okay. Nowadays, it's okay.
I'm a proud home theater geek.
It's hip to be square. All right, okay. Contributor at techhive.com. How are you, Scott? I hope you had a happy Passover.
Had a very happy Passover. We did an online Seder with our community, which was very nice.
Nice.
Easter coming up tomorrow.
Do you do both?
I don't do much Easter, to tell you the truth.
I think it's one of, we always, I grew up one of, those bad church people who go to church on Easter and Christmas.
Right.
But I always loved going to church as a kid on Easter because of all the flowers. It was always so, and Christmas too, it's candles and beautiful. I just always enjoyed that much of it anyway.
Well, and I used to always have an Easter gig. I mean, brass music at Easter is almost as big as it is at Christmas. More at Christmas,
right?
But playing hymns and
it's beautiful.
chorales and so on, on brass and in church and on Easter is great.
As a Handel, right?
Right, among other people.
Mr. Handel loved a good trumpet solo.
That's right.
So what are we talking about today?
Oh, today is LG OLED Day.
LG OLED?
Yep.
Do they make all the OLED panels for all the TVs?
Virtually so, yes. They do.
So why is it that we want to get an LG branded OLED? I mean...
Well, because they have more models than anybody else.
Okay.
For one thing.
Okay.
They have a wider range of prices for one thing. And this week, they announced the pricing and availability of the 2021 OLED lineup, which includes, 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, something like a dozen different models.
Wow. These are their TVs.
Yes, these are their TVs. And they introduced this year a new low-end model of OLED called the A1. Which starts with a 48-inch version at $1,300. Wow. Which is not bad.
No.
Now,
in fact, that's close enough to the LCD price. You're paying, what, $300 or $400 premium?
Yeah.
That it might be worth saying I'll spend a little more and get the best screen, because it is the best screen quality,
oh, absolutely. Right? No question.
Yeah.
No question.
It's not as bright.
In my mind at all. No, not as bright, but super deep blacks. Which is difficult to get on LCDs, and even if you do, they have certain problems that might impact the sound or the picture quality.
Right.
Anyway, $1,300 for a 48-inch, shipping in June. Now the A1 series is a little less capable. I mean, it's a 60 hertz display instead of 120. So it refreshes at 60 cycles per second, not 120. And it does not have variable frame rate or refresh rate, which is really good for gaming. So if you're a gamer, you probably want to step up to the C1 series, which starts at 48 inches at $1,500. So it's only $200 more.
Does that support the variable frame rate technologies, the FreeSync technology in that.
I have to say I'm not sure if it's
because if you're doing
FreeSync specific or G-Sync.
Yeah, you should support the standards by the video card makers. Otherwise,
correct,
you won't get it.
Correct.
This is, by the way, so complicated.
It is
because, but if you're a gamer, I guess you care enough to put the effort in.
Then you dig into it.
Yeah.
You dig into it and figure it out.
Yeah.
So you can get the A1 up to 77 inches. You can get the C1 up to 83 inches. Now, that's $6,000, but it's an 83-inch TV.
Jeez.
I mean, that's huge.
Jeez Louise.
Now, then you step up to the G1 series, which uses their new Evo OLED panel, which gets brighter than previous generations of OLED. So you're getting up to close to 1,000 nits. Which is in LCD territory, definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. I mentioned last week I bought a OLED gaming monitor.
Yeah,
and the knock on it is it's not bright at all. You want to dim the room, but I dim the room when I play games anyway. I don't want to see anybody to see me. So,
well, you don't want to be distracted. You want to be immersed in the game. You want to be immersed in the world, in the universe that they're creating. And if you look over and see, your bookshelf or
that's
whatever,
no good.
it kind of takes you out of the thing.
So it's rated for 400 nits, but in the reviews they're saying, it's more like 300 nits, which is pretty dim.
Well,
it's bright enough.
It's bright
what
enough.
about now? This is another question I'm meaning to ask you. As long as we're talking about OLEDs, we had a caller last week who had burn-in on his OLED.
It does happen if you and it's not nearly as bad as plasma used to be. Remember when plasma?
Oh God, it was terrible.
It was terrible on plasma.
In the early days, we had a $10,000 plasma TV that the TV station had bought, and of course they left it on the TV station, so it was burn in the lower third and the bug, the logo of the TV station burn into it badly.
Yep.
That's, by the way, what he was complaining about. His wife happens to like a particular news station, leaves it on all day, and he says, I turn off. I see it everywhere now. Mm-hmm. Can you get rid of that?
Do that every. There are two types. There's image retention, which is temporary, and burn-in, which is permanent. Image retention you can get rid of. Most OLED TVs have an image retention fighter. They go by different names, but you go into the menu and you say refresh the screen, and it'll go through a routine that exercises, quote unquote, all of the pixels equally to try and get rid of temporary image retention. Some TVs, including my Sony OLED, which I have had for several years, will do that every 100 hours of use or 200 hours of use or something like that. They'll just automatically do it.
You can't use the TV when it's doing that.
No, but a thing comes up and says, we're going to do this next time you turn the TV off.
Oh, okay.
So, you're done watching for the night, you turn the TV off, and then it goes through its routine.
Okay.
And it doesn't hurt anything.
Is it cycling through colors and stuff? Or?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, you can get rid of it.
Should I worry about it if I have an OLED?
Well, if you leave it on all day, every day, for days and days and weeks, and you leave it on the game screen and there's a scoreboard, say.
Yeah, games don't care about that. Yeah, they
don't care about that.
Yeah.
No. So it's really not a problem if you turn it off when you're not using it.
Well, I for this OLED gaming monitor, I set the timeout for 15 minutes. If the computer is not being used for 15 minutes, it goes off.
Oh, well,
it's a little bit of a pain,
problem.
But I'm just doing that so that I don't want it to burn in.
Yeah, no, it won't. It won't. It really companies that go to trade shows and have their OLED on all day, every day for 15 hours, over 5 days, playing the same thing over and over and over and over again as a demo, they will probably have at least image retention. Maybe not burn-in, but image retention. But that can be solved.
Yeah.
So anyway, LG OLED's coming out this year, looking really good. And if you wanted an 8K, you could get that too. Their ZX from last year is a holdover. And it's available in 77 and 88-inch versions, but it's very expensive.
I like OLED. I have to say, I cannot lie. I can't deny. I love the OLED screens. They're
That's right. I do too.
So beautiful. And when we have a projector, which is kind of the opposite, the opposite of OLED. And it's nice for the size, and it's in the living room. So, it's a big family viewing experience.
Sure, Super Bowl party kind of thing.
But boy, when I see a show's in HDR and 4K, and I really want to enjoy it, I go in the bedroom and I turn on my OLED.
Turn on the OLED, man. It is the best TV experience you can get today, in my opinion.
And it's now more affordable.
That's right.
Scott Wilkinson, home theater geek. You'll find his work at techhive.com. And, of course, you'll find him here every week blowing his shofar. Thank you, Scott.
You bet.
Yeah,
that'll come in the fall. We're still trying to decide whether or not to do the New Year in person or online still. It's in September, so we don't really know.
I made an executive decision, which shocked Lisa.
Oh, yeah?
Because I've been like one of the most paranoid about COVID.
Sure.
Being an old man, I don't want to get it.
Right.
But we will all be vaccinated by the fall. So I signed up for Mike Elgin's Oaxaca experience for Day of the Dead, which is late October. So and she went, "You mean this year?" And I said, "Yeah."
You mean going down to Mexico?
Mexico. But we'll be vaccinated.
Right.
And everybody there's four couples. So everybody else will be vaccinated too.
Right.
I think it'll be okay. We'll wear masks when we're out and about.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you're out and about, you have no control.
Apparently, Oaxaca's very careful about
okay.
They're good on masking because a lot of Mexico has been very bad.
Yeah, really bad.
But I think also by October, and now see, this is my rationale, and maybe I'm stupid, but if you're vaccinated, go on out and do your thing, man. Right?
I guess.
What are you worried about?
Well, I guess I'm worried about...
Lisa's worried about mutations.
Yeah, mutations could be a problem.
But the good thing is if we everybody gets vaccinated, mutations get less likely. People have to get it.
But not everyone's going to get vaccinated.
I know.
There's something like 20 or 30% of the population who isn't going to get vaccinated.
I know. Silly people. Get vaccinated.
Which is silly.
For the rest of us, do it. But even if they get it, I'm not going to get it. And if I get it, it'll be mild. I won't.
Yeah.
So I'm figuring... And then CDC this week came out and said, you know what? If you're fully vaccinated, you're not going to get the asymptomatic mild version. They haven't seen now in the 3 months they've been doing this. They haven't seen that. So that was one concern, is that you'll still spread it around.
Right. But my concern was no one knew how long the protection of the vaccine would last. But we just heard this week it's at least 6 months. Probably.
Yeah, we'll find out because... we're not, that's why I'm glad I didn't get it. Wasn't the first to get it.
Right.
Because we'll find out, because the people who got it 3 months ago will start getting sick. And then there'll be a notice going out, okay, come back, get your booster. Yep. Same thing with variants.
Right. Right.
So I'm not too worried. I mean, I will, out of courtesy, and I think this will just be the kind of de rigueur, wear a mask in public.
Now on.
Yeah. But I think that it's not a problem.
How are you going to get there? Flying?
Yeah. But again, we're vaccinated.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think, even if I am vaccinated, I'm fully vaccinated. I got both shots of Pfizer.
And you're 2 weeks out from your last shot.
Yeah, I'm past 2 weeks out now. Yeah. So should be fully protected. I'm certainly not going to get on a cruise ship.
Well, we're going to do that in January.
You're going to do that in January? Okay.
Yeah.
We're talking about maybe flying back to Boston for my wife's mother's birthday. She'll be 96, I think. So we're thinking about that. We're going to be actually up in Santa Cruz in January, but that's going to be a road trip.
My
July.
My suspicion is that people are a little PTSD.
Well, that could very well be.
And it will wear off, because 6 months from now, people will just go back to normal. I just think.
Yeah. Yeah. Could very well be.
So CDC now has a study of people vaccinated as long ago as December. and very, very good, I think, news.
Very good results. Yeah.
Scott, you hang out. I just used your whole time. Top of the hour?
No problem.
Top
no
of the
problem.
hour?
Happy to.
All right. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. Joe on the line. Hello, Joe from West Hollywood, California.
Oh, hi.
It's Joel. Sorry, I missed the L.
That's all right.
Hi,
That's
Joel.
all right. I have what I think is a simple question. I have a touchscreen monitor, and it has a USB connection on it to power the touch part of the screen. And I need to put the monitor away from the computer, and I'm wondering, but you can't really extend USB very far. So is it possible I could plug that USB that powers the touch part of the screen into like a little power adapter?
Yeah. And USB, so you can go about 5 meters. That's the spec for USB. That's 15 feet. You want to go more than 15 feet?
I think it's going to be about 20 feet.
It might work. I don't know. You probably can't buy a USB cable that's longer than 5 meters, I would guess.
Probably not, but if
now,
I got like a small...
you can get an extender. So Monoprice sells for nothing. I think it's about $14. A 32-foot USB cable with it. You'll see there's a dongle on it. That's actually for amplifying.
Oh, yeah, I've seen one of those. But
Yeah.
what I'm really wondering is like, because the USB it came with, it's like a USB-A to micro USB. It's only like 12 inches long.
Yeah.
Could I just plug that into like a USB power adapter?
That's an interesting question. My guess is no. There might be USB hubs. You're talking about a powered hub. There might be USB hubs that amplify the data, but mostly what you're getting, I mean, every hub I've ever seen, it's just powered. It's amplified. In effect, it's giving you additional power. Right. But I don't think it amplifies the data, and that's the problem. You're getting signal loss over the length. So it's not like that little hub. You plug that thing into the hub, and then you plug another cable into the hub. It's not like that hub is amplifying the data.
Because I was thinking that was just to power the touch part of the screen. I didn't know.
Oh, well, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. This is new to me. So you have.
It's a VGA. It's a VGA.
How does the monitor talk to the computer though? It's over USB.
It's with that USB.
Yeah, there's data. It's not just power.
So I have to.
It's data.
Yeah,
I would look at these Monoprice cables. Do they go all the way up to 82 feet?
Wow.
So they're totally designed to just amplify the data signal.
Okay.
So I think that's probably the right solution. Now, will they have a micro USB on one end? Actually, it looks like. Oh, okay. So I see what they're doing. I'm looking at a picture of it.
Probably like a male.
Yeah, it's male to female.
USB,
yeah, exactly. So you'd plug in the micro USB to the monitor. You'd plug the other end of that into the female, and then you'd plug the other end, the male Type A, into whatever you wanted, as long as 82 feet away. That's pretty amazing. I've never used these, but I think that'll be enough.
Go that far.
Yeah, and they specifically say it's to extend the data.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think you need the data to drive the screen needs to know the screen needs to send to the computer what you're touching. Otherwise.
Yeah. Okay. I get it.
Yeah. And by the way, you could try it and see. But
well, I don't want to blow up.
It won't blow anything up. It just won't work. It'll be like, I don't.
Oh, it just won't work.
Yeah, the computer will say, I don't see the screen you're talking about. What screen is that?
Okay.
And so it might just work. You might. I mean, remember these specs. This 5 meter spec is just the spec. It may well go twice as long. I think they're saying it's probably not going to be as reliable. I think is what they're saying. But again, it's worth a try. I don't think there's any harm. No harm trying. See what happens. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Phil on the line from Dallas, Texas. Hello, Phil.
Hey, Uncle Leo. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Thanks for taking my call so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for calling. What can I do for you?
I am wondering if you can help me justify to myself spending money.
Okay.
Because I'm the tech hound of my family, and I like to just buy the new gadgets. And Apple hasn't been making it any easier releasing their hardware in the last year or so. I've been trying to hold off buying new devices for a little while. It's like just a personal test to myself. Like I currently have
Yeah, I understand. It's like taking cold showers. It's a challenge.
I mean, I feel like I'm doing pretty well right now. Like my current phone, I have an iPhone XS Max.
Well, that's good.
And I have the original iPad Pro right now that I've been operating off
Excellent.
of for a while.
And really, honestly, I have the latest iPad Pro. No difference. You're fine.
Right,
And similarly with the phones, I think you're fine. These every year they have to put out a new one, but they're never such a big jump that you'll go, oh wow. The big jump though that did happen with Apple is this shift to the Apple Silicon chip.
Yes, and that was what my question is about. With this shift to the M1 Max. And now that they're introducing the ability to run iOS apps on
that's pretty cool.
Mac now.
Yeah,
like that's kind of like helping me. Like it's making my purchase finger getting really itchy.
Okay,
that buy
I'm
button.
going to help you. Cold shower time. Apple has an event coming up for sure in June. We know the Worldwide Developers Conference. There's probably an event between now and June, likely this month, where they will announce at least new iPads this month. And I suspect they'll announce a successor to the M1 chip in June. So this would be not a great time, I think, to buy Apple gear. Wait, because I believe new gear is imminent. Are you looking at a laptop, a desktop? What are you looking for?
I'm actually looking at after doing more research, the MacBook Pro.
I love it. That's the one I got. That's the one I got, the 13-inch. It's fantastic. The thing that blows me away is battery life. Performance is superb, but the battery life is there's nothing I have that's close. So if you want that, it's good. But that I can tell you right now, the first chip they put out and the first 3 products they put out with that chip are what they think of as low end.
Okay.
So it depends what you need. It's honestly as fast as their high-end Intel Macs. So it's pretty good. But if you really, I mean, you're going to have some FOMO. You're going to have some, you're going to wish you took a cold shower because in a couple of months, I suspect we're going to see new laptops, and new iMacs. Wait till June. If they don't announce anything in June, you have my blessing. The power, unless you really can't stand it, the PowerBook is fantastic. The thing is, as time goes by, more stuff will be compatible, and that's a big deal too. This is a big difference, you know. So
the price tag is nothing to shy at.
Yeah, although honestly, here's another little tidbit. The MacBook Pro and the MacBook Air are the same processor, running at the same clock speed. The only difference is cooling and battery. So the Pro has fans in it, which means it can run for it's not running faster, it just can run at that higher speed longer. So,
right.
But I don't think that makes a big difference. I'd get the Air, which starts at 1,000.
Right, and that's what I was thinking too. But what I want to use it for is more for like video editing, audio editing,
okay,
creation type stuff.
So you are doing high end, okay?
Yeah, but I mean, like I'm not a professional by any means, but like I've been doing like some video and audio editing on the iPad Pro.
I understand,
but I mean, it does leave a little bit to be desired with some of the tools that can be offered through a more.
Well, there'll be a new iPad Pro probably this month. And that will have what we believe the A14X, which is the M1 chip plus. So the new iPad Pro, if you really like the iPad platform, might not be a bad idea. Wait till that comes out. And then I do believe, I don't know if they'll do new laptops, but they need to do a higher end M1X or M2 or something like that, and I think that's going to happen.
I'm wondering if they're going to announce like a 16-inch MacBook Pro at some point.
Yes, that's the rumor. That's the
Yeah.
rumor. Yeah.
And that's what I'm wondering
And
about.
those will be redesigned. That's the other thing, is that they have new designs. So you're going to feel it's stupid, but you're going to feel like you have a kind of old-fashioned Mac as soon as those come out. So
Okay, then
wait till
guess
June.
I'll go ahead and I've waited this long.
Wait till
In either
June.
Case, my wife is going to be getting my old iPad.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Good.
So, thanks so much for
My pleasure.
for talking me off that ledge, Leo. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for all the
All
work.
right. My pleasure. Take care. All right, Scotty, all yours.
Thank you so very much. Loquacious is looking for a sound bar for her 34-inch bedroom TV, and as usual, I said, look at Vizio. She was looking at Logitech, and I have to say I would probably go with Vizio before Logitech. I don't have a lot of experience with Logitech. Maybe they're good, but I know Vizio is good. So I would take a look at that. And I asked if she wanted actual surround speakers or just a sound bar, which is one question. And in either case, I would definitely get one that has a separate subwoofer. Vizio, most companies make just the sound bar by itself, cheaper, of course, but you're not going to get the good bass. They can't do good bass. So for not that much more, you can get one with a separate wireless subwoofer. You still have to plug it into the wall, but it doesn't have to connect to anything else with wires. And that's going to do you just fine. Let's see. Kevy J, UK, just wondering if it's worth going for over the current range. Sorry, don't know what you mean. So if you want to explain that a little bit more. Beatmaster, to be fair, Logitech owns Ultimate Ears. Oh, okay. Well, Ultimate Ears makes some good stuff. CJ, hope you're having a great 4321 today's date. Yeah, we were talking about that. Kim mentioned that earlier. And at least in the U.S., that's what it is. Somebody else in the chat room mentioned that in the U.K., it's 3421 because they specify month and date differently than we do here. So, in fact, they had a 4321 last month. Oh, Kevy J in the UK said G1. Let's see. Vegas Taxi Guy says, recently bought an inexpensive Vizio for my 10-year-old TV, $99. Better than TV speakers, but I would say not. But I would not buy again. Spend more money than I did. I would agree with that. I would say you probably want to spend something on the order of a couple $100. I would budget a couple $100 at least, $250, and you'd get something pretty nice with a subwoofer. Yeah, Loquacious is going to find a spot for that subwoofer. Good. I would if I were you. If you're space limited, which you say you are, don't worry about getting one that has actual surround speakers. No need to worry about that. But do find a place for that subwoofer, because that'll be a big improvement. I can tell you. Oh, Kevy J in the UK meant comparison between current LG and the new G1. Yeah, the new G1 actually is going to be a noticeable improvement, because that's the only TV model or line series in their line of 2021 TVs that has the new Evo panel. And that panel gives you greater brightness, wider color gamut. It really is a significant improvement over past OLEDs. So that would be, if you can afford it, if you can afford the G1, it really is a significant improvement. And talking about prices, let me look that up real quick. The 55-inch G1 is $2,100, and the 55-inch C1 is $1,800. So we're talking $300 difference. You know, if out of roughly 2,000. So, for a little over 10% increase in price, you're getting a significantly better OLED panel. Nerdette, what is the best dual monitor arms for the desk? Sorry, I do not follow that particular thing. I would not know. So let's see. Alan Gabriel, OLED getting affordable? Yes, it is. That was kind of my point here in my segment today. The A1, which is a new line for new series for LG, is get more affordable than their past models. It also has slightly less capability. One thing I didn't mention in my segment was, in addition to a 60 hertz refresh rate rather than 120 and no VRR, variable refresh rate, it has a somewhat less powerful video processor. So, you get what you pay for. And once again, if you have the wherewithal to go the extra $200 or so that the C1 costs over the A1, I'd go with the C1. Let's see, the A155 is $1,600, the C155 is $1,800. Yeah, $200 difference. So, $200 or $300 difference. I see the 65 A1 is $22 and the 65 C1 is $25. So that's $300 difference. So if you can swing that, I think it's worth it. 120 hertz and the better video processor, even more important.
Thank you there, Scotty.
My pleasure. Happy Easter, everyone.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number, 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. I'd love to hear from you if you want to call. 8888 Ask Leo. Website where everything goes, including audio and video from the show afterwards, is techguylabs.com. And our scribe is writing everything down, James DeRuvo, so you can don't have to write it down yourself. You can refer to that. techguylabs.com. That's free. We're talking about the imminent, I think, release of a new iPad Pro, probably this month from Apple. The rumors were it's going to be last month. In fact, there's one rumor guy who said for sure it was going to be March 23rd. He said, and this was his mistake, he tweeted, "I'll shave my eyebrows off if it's not March 23rd. It wasn't. He did. Not a good look. But good for hits. Yeah, very very good for the web traffic or the Twitter traffic. I don't know. Does anybody count Twitter traffic? I think, though, and I'm not going to shave my eyebrows off if I'm wrong, but I think that probably it's this month. Reflexively patting my eyebrows. Don't worry, babies. You're going to be all right. I think it's safe to say it'll be this month. And if they do release a new iPad Pro, they'll probably do it with new screen technology. This is something to pay attention to. We've been waiting for micro LED. This is not that. This is mini LED. Don't confuse them. Mini LED just is a better backlight on an LCD screen, but it is a much better backlight. There's lots of them, little mini LEDs in the back, which give you a much better contrast ratio and almost HDR performance. So that's good. High dynamic range. Oh, that's good. It'll be a beautiful screen, I think. And Apple is planning to move to mini LED for all their, I think their phones too, but certainly their laptops and their iPads. That's imminent. Another reason maybe to wait and see. Wait and see. Joe's on the line from Marlboro, New Jersey. Hello, Joe.
Hi, Leo.
Thanks for hanging on.
Thanks for taking my call.
What is up? What can I do for you?
All right. You know how you say that people say that their iPhone is full up, it's time to get a new one?
Yes.
I'm at that crossroads. I plan to get another one because this one's kind of long in the tooth. It's a 6 Plus.
Oh, yeah, it's time. Yeah, I replaced my mom's 6 Plus this year.
Yes, it's time. The only thing I wanted to do is I wanted to save messages. I have 18 gigabytes worth of messages, and I wanted to save them to my Mac.
No wonder your phone's full. Wow.
It's one of those things. You don't realize how much is there.
Yeah, you never delete a message. Now, are you using Apple's messages for this?
Yes.
Okay, so that's an easy solution. If you had a third-party messenger like WhatsApp, then you'd have to investigate ways to do that. But there is on the iPhone, there's a setting for messages to save them to iCloud. Now that 16 gigabytes will overwhelm your free iCloud, so you're going to have to pay for that.
All right, I have 50 gigabytes, and I could take some things out of there.
That's one way, and I turn that on because then messages are on my desktop, they're on my phone, so I can use Apple's messages on my desktop now to respond to a phone message. So I like them to synchronize, and that's a feature you could turn on. You have to turn on the desktop as well as on the iPhone. But if you don't want to do that, there are also programs that will back up your messages. And, because you have a free synchronization capability built into the Mac, people sometimes balk when I tell them this is a $50 program. But if you think about how much you're spending for iCloud backup and you want to have a third-party backup that really works, I love this. It's called iMazing.
All right.
iMazing.com. And I was it's like $50. I don't even need this, but it does keep all your iPhone messages.
Okay.
And they're then backed up to your computer. So if you didn't want to use the iCloud method, this is and by the way, I think it's a very good way to back up your phone. I actually prefer it.
Okay, and I'm not too adverse to spending some money. I did look at a thing called MacroPlant puts it out. It's called I'm not quite sure what the name is. iExplorer.
Yeah, iExplorer I've used for years. That's designed to do the one-time transfer, and it works. I would say if it's a choice between iExplorer, which I used for years, and iMazing, iExplorer is $40. Spend the $10 more.
Okay. Now there's an issue here. When I go to iExplorer in there, I guess this is a demonstration.
Yeah, they have a free demo.
I look up my messages, and it says this backup is encrypted. Now, from poking around, I've tried to do certain things, and it tells me to put in my keychain password. And I never established a keychain password.
Well, believe it or not, you did. But you just didn't know it. The keychain password is the same as your login password. So
log into the computer?
Yeah. So by default, the keychain is set up automatically when you set up your Mac OS. And by default, it uses your Mac OS login as its login. That's how it unlocks the minute you log into the Mac and stays unlocked. You can change that, and there are people who change it, but then you better remember it because situations like this. But right now, it's the same as your login, unless you haven't changed. You've changed it.
Okay, so then get one of those programs, go to the keychain, and
you won't for iMazing. You won't have to do that, I don't think. You'll do a new backup, and then it will all be there. By the way, a good choice for moving to a new phone. You do the iMazing backup, and then you can blast it onto the new phone. Apple does this too. iMazing has some nice features that make it, for me, made it worth the $50.
Right. And when I store this in the cloud,
iMazing stores it locally, which is good.
Oh, okay.
The iCloud solution is Apple's built-in solution. And I have to say, they've gotten better and better. At this point, when I get a new iPhone, I don't do a local backup. I used to always do a local backup and restore because I thought that's faster and better. The iCloud backup now is so good that it's much easier just to say, yeah, restore from my iCloud backup. But you have to have enough storage there. And now that the phones are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, Apple's iCloud is not cheap. It's not the cheapest of the cloud storage. So if you don't want to do the cloud, iMazing does it all locally on your Mac. You do need a Mac to use iMazing. So that's...
Yeah. If I send it to the cloud, I'll be able to retrieve all of the photos that were sent in those messages?
You have to turn on... Yes. All the data in the messages, yes.
Okay.
But again, spend the $50. You'll be glad.
I intend to spend a lot of money and get enough.
Yeah, you're spending $1,000 on a new phone. Don't cheap out. Although, again, it's a little pricey given that this is replacing something Apple does for free. I just it was worth it for me for the additional features and the convenience.
Yeah, I think that's a wise choice to get the software and go from there.
Yeah. Hey, appreciate the call.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Joe. Have a good one. I just saw a study that said people are getting a lot more storage on their phones. It's kind of interesting. This is from Counterpoint Research. And that iPhone 6 you got, the average was about 48 gigabytes on the phone. And that's probably because most, it was a split between 64 and 32. In fact, that's exactly right, isn't it? That half the people bought 64 gig phones, which at that time seemed big, and half 32. And I think for a lot of people, if you do use the cloud, 64 is enough. But now, with the iPhone 12 Pro Max, the average is 140 gigabytes. And Samsung Galaxies aren't far behind. The average is 95.7. So people are starting to put a lot more storage in their phone. I think that reflects a number of things. Of course, the fact that we are taking a lot more pictures and even videos. You want that storage on the phone to store those. And the pixel size and the video size is getting bigger and bigger. But I think also people are using their phones more like their main computer, frankly. And so having more storage is not a bad idea. It's interesting. It's almost tripled from what it was in 6 years ago in the iPhone 6 era. Woo! Woo! Hey, Leo Laporte. Professor Laura says it's Saturday night. It's officially afternoon here in California, so it's Saturday night. It's time to party. You know what? I'm glad you played this. This song is making a resurgence because of the ice cream commercial, right? Have you seen that, Laura? They say there's a scoop of ice cream, and then they put chocolate on, so they say scoop shakalaka. You haven't seen that? I think, and then sprinkles, I think it's probably the same guys because they're looking a little old. When did this come out? Scoop. Hey. Oh, it's a Geico commercial. It's not an ice cream commercial. Of course it's a Geico commercial. But this is the problem with Geico commercials. You remember the fun. You don't remember the product. Scoop shakalaka. 8888, ask Leo the phone number. What's the name of the group? Tag Team. I bet you it's the same guys. Was that their only hit? No. Okay. Back to the... I'm the tech guy. I'm not the rap guy. It was Tag Team is on the commercial as well. Yep. And they're a little gray now. A little older, as we all are. Joe on the line from Utica. Hi, Joe.
How you doing?
I am great. How are you?
Well, not too bad.
Whoop! There it is.
I got a question about thumb drives.
Thumb drives. All right.
Yes. Do they have a life that's not very long?
There's nothing sadder than the life of a thumb drive. It lives in your pocket all day in the pitch black. You pull it out, you stick it in, it gets really hot. You're done, you put it back in your pocket. No, yes, they do have a limited lifespan, but they've gotten better and better, and I generally find that they're pretty good. I mean, you don't use them all the time. I would not use it, for instance, as a hard drive like for your operating system.
No. What I do use it for is play music. I have my music on it, and I play it basically 3 hours, and then.
Well, here's the good news: the way your music player works is actually pretty easy on that drive. First of all, what wears flash out is writing to it, not reading from it.
Oh, okay.
So it has a limited number of write cycles. So you're not writing to it a lot. All you're doing is reading it. And music players, the way they do is they load in a whole chunk. They don't read it the whole time. They'll load. In fact, you probably noticed that. You could take out the thing and it keep playing for a while. It loads in, as much memory as it has. Maybe it'll load in 10 gigs or 20 gigs. I'm sorry, megs. Or 20 gigs, play it, and then it loads in the next one before the song gets to that part. So it's not really straining the drive. Here's how you could tell. Those thumb drives, because they don't have cooling, and I think this is the biggest threat to these thumb drives, they get pretty hot.
Okay.
So if you feel it and it's not hot, you're golden. It'll get hot from writing more than reading.
Okay.
So I think you're good.
But because this one thumb drive I use all the time, and the other one is a backup, and then I got other backups.
Well, that's the main thing is don't rely on that as your only copy of that music, obviously, right?
Well, I take 3 external hard drives.
Beautiful.
And 4 thumb drives with me.
Beautiful.
And the one I use all the time, I lost 26 folders with 448 songs on it.
But you had a copy, I hope.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to go to iDrive. I never thought of this before, but I'm going to go to iDrive just to be sure.
I do the same thing. I have, my music is in the cloud in case. It's a backup in the cloud. But like you, in fact, if you think about it, like if you went to and bought like a SanDisk Sansa or any of these little pocket players, even an iPod with solid state, it's doing the same thing. It's playing all the time off that flash. So, yeah, it's fine, to, especially if it's reading. If you wrote to it all the time, that's why it wouldn't be good for running an operating system because they're always writing to the drive. That might wear it out faster. I think you're fine. But they will die eventually. Make sure you have a backup.
What about the external hard drives?
Same thing. The thing that's interesting is for when these solid state drives first started coming out, we were worried that they would wear out faster. And indeed, the early ones, I have a friend who was testing it, used it for a swap file. That gets written to a lot. And he killed it in days. And then I was very worried. I thought, oh no, this is going to be a problem. But they've gotten wise to it. They're very careful they over-provision the drive with a lot more storage than you actually get. And then they rotate through the cells. It's called wear leveling. So even solid-state drives, nowadays, they last as long as a spinning drive because there's no moving parts, and they're smart about how they use it. I have no hesitation. Almost everything I use now is a solid-state drive. I don't want to buy spinning drives anymore.
Okay.
So absolutely safe. Everything dies eventually. Got to have a backup. Cue our sponsor, iDrive. But solid-state drives don't die faster than spinning drives. And flash drives, they're not as fancy. They're cheaper memory. They may wear out too. Never rely on them 100%. In fact, professional cameras, photography cameras, almost always have dual drives. And if you're doing a wedding or taking pictures you just can't lose, they will write the same image to 2 different memory cards, reducing significantly the chance of data loss. That's the worst thing. And I've had that happen, where you a flash memory card, and not in a long time, though. I think they've gotten a lot better, but a flash memory card might die in a camera. Jazz from Temecula. Hi, Jazz. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo.
Hi, Jazz.
First-time caller. Been listening to you for a long time.
Well, yay. I'm glad you made it. Welcome.
Thank you. I have a question about do-it-yourself home alarm systems. I was looking at the Ring one, but I know there's several choices.
I'm prejudiced. I'm prejudiced because I use our sponsor, Simply Safe.
That's right.
I think they're really good, and they do continually win awards for the best. For a long time, they didn't have cameras, but they have cameras now. But really what you want is motion sensors, glass break, window and door openers. They have water sensors. I think that they're very affordable. You do it yourself. Like you said, you don't want some guy traipsing around your house nowadays. It's easy to put in. And Ring's fine, But Ring is late to the game. They're new to the game. And some people are a little concerned because of the Amazon relationship. Ring has been, they share information with police departments and stuff. Maybe that's not a bad thing. But I think privacy advocates are a little nervous about Ring. I had a Ring doorbell for a long time. I loved it. But I think if I were going with a full home security system, I'd go with SimpliSafe.
Okay, one last question, kind of still on the same topic, though. What if you have limited Wi-Fi because you're on a farm?
Then don't use cameras because they'll eat up your Wi-Fi. Everything else doesn't use it or uses it just for emergencies. But I would not have cameras because a high-def camera signal can be a megabyte a minute. It can be a lot of data. You don't want that.
Got it. Okay. Well, thank you for taking my question.
You're welcome. There's one more company I should mention because they're the low-cost leader, and that's Wyze with a Y, WYZE.com. Yeah. They're new to this home security game. They've done cameras for a long time, but they've now they're adding stuff all the time. I think they're going to be the lowest cost. And I've used the cameras and I can vouch for them, but I can't vouch for their home security stuff because it's brand new and I haven't tried it.
Okay.
But if you want to save money, they are really affordable.
Okay.
All right.
Got it.
Didn't really narrow your choices down much. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm not good at that. That's one thing everybody always said, Leo, you just give me one answer. I don't want 4. The Wirecutter used to do that. That's a great site, by the way. I recommend you read their reviews, especially for home security. They're very good. For a long time, they just gave you one answer. Now people, well, but on the other hand, and it's a little less clear. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Whoop. There it is. Whoop. Our show today brought to you by, ironically, SimpliSafe. It's perfect timing. We just got called by somebody who wants to know what's the best home security system. I can say without fear of contradiction, there's none better than SimpliSafe. It's the one I use, the one I recommend. And I'll tell you why. SimpliSafe was created by Harvard, MIT graduates who really know technology, but they were also looking for something that didn't exist on the market, a way that you could easily, inexpensively install a home security system, one that you could take with you when you move, one that offers very low-cost, 24-hour professional monitoring. That's how SimpliSafe was born. And by the way, it is now widely considered the best home security system anywhere. If you have 30 free minutes, you're never going to have to worry about getting broken into at home again. That's 30 minutes is all it takes to install a system from SimpliSafe. It's so easy to do. You can do it during a Netflix binge or watching the game or even listening to my show. You peel, you stick, no guy coming in with a drill traipsing around your house. There's no drilling at all. They have all the sensors. In fact, if you go to simplisafe.com/twit and take a look, there's everything: motion detection, glass break, even water sensors. So you could put one, and I would, because I've had this happen, by the water heater. So if there's something goes wrong with the water heater, you'll know immediately before it floods you. They have carbon monoxide. They have everything. Cameras too. You get the sense, and by the way, you choose exactly the sensors you know you need. You don't have to get extra sensors or fewer sensors you need. They have experts on the phone who can help you if you have any questions. It'll get to you within a week, which means by this time next week, you'll feel good. You can go to bed knowing your house is protected. 24/7 monitoring, same quality monitoring everybody else offers for 3 times the price. And by the way, no contract, no long-term. It's month to month. It's really no hidden fees, and best of all, no installation costs because you're doing it. It's easy. Go to simplisafe.com/twit. Customize your system. When you order at that address, by the way, you'll get a free security camera. Yes. I should have told her that. simplisafe.com/twit. Plus 60-day risk-free trial. So nothing to lose. Easy to set up. You don't like it, you get your money back. You will like it. I know you will. SimplySafe.com/twit. Thank you, Simply Safe, for supporting the Tech Guy podcast. More money than I can refuse. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Malia's on the line from Lancaster, California. Hello, Malia.
Hi.
Hey.
I have been a Fitbit Versa user since they came out.
Awesome.
And I am a runner, and I had the opportunity to get a Garmin Phoenix 5S Plus for $300. And I know in the running field, Garmin is like the best, but is it comparable, or is it a good deal? Or
boy, I wish I could tell you about that. I haven't used either. I use an Apple Watch, which is definitely not as good for runners.
Yeah, the charge didn't last very long on the Apple Watch.
No, well, and I don't mind charging every night. I'm just used to that idea. Of course, Garmin is considered the king of the hill on this stuff. So that's a good price on the Phoenix. That's about $100 off. It makes it almost the same price as a new Fitbit, a Versa would be. So I am not an expert. I'm going to have to... so Nerdette is saying, are you a road runner or a trail runner?
A road runner. Okay.
So I'm not sure why she asked that. She'll tell us in a second. It might be that because she loves, she says, wow, that is a watch. The Garmin Phoenix.
Phoenix is, yeah, I've had it on my wish list forever, and now I have this opportunity, but I've been so devoted to Fitbit forever.
So let me throw in one more little tidbit, which is Fitbit got acquired by Google. Okay. They're now a Google company. Could be good, could be bad. I'll tell you my interpretation. It could be good because they're a big company. They have lots of resources. They have a lot of incentive to make it good. Could be bad because Google's notorious for a short attention span. And I look at what they've done with other acquisitions, and it has not been good. And I look what they've done with their own watch technology, Google Android Wear, and it has not been good. So it's my guess that because this is Garmin's one and only business, you know, they used to be the king of the hill for GPS, and they were smart. They pivoted. They said, people don't need GPS in their cars anymore. What else can we do? Runners. I think Damien, who does as a triathlete in our chat room, he says, my Garmin is so much better than the Apple Watch. I think that's probably, everybody agrees, the case. I think, as far as I know, Garmin is the king of the hill in this, but I'll defer to runners who use it because I don't run. Some are saying, Nerdette is saying that the Garmin GPS is more accurate, slightly more accurate. So do you tie it to Strava or something like that?
I do. I have Couch to 5K and the Couch to whatever interface works with that.
Yeah. So if you're tracking and looking at your tracks, I mean, for one thing, you want it to be accurate in terms of how far you've run, but also if you care about your tracks and all that, I think Garmin's going to be the king of the hill. Boy, and you got a good price. Somebody's giving it to you. Is it used, or you just found a really good deal?
It was used like barely, like 5 to 10 times.
So the first thing I'd say is, why don't you want it?
Basically, they got the Apple Watch, and they're a walker. So
for walking, the Apple Watch is fine. Apple Watch has a lot of other features, but for running, you want accurate, readability while you can running. You want accurate heart rate. You want accurate GPS. It's a big watch. Have you put it on?
No, but my eyesight's not that good, so I don't want to have to be wearing my glasses when I'm running. So.
Right. I think the displays on the Garmin are actually better. I think they're very good. They're nice. So, just from the reviews I've read and the reputation it has, I'd say Garmin. But I have to again qualify that because I'm not a user, so I do not know.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your input.
Keep listening. Somebody will call in and say, I'm a runner, and let me tell you, forget the Garmin, forget the Fitbit, you want the Coros. I'm sure somebody in the chat room is already saying that. So, but I think you're getting a great deal, $100 off on that Phoenix, which puts it at the same price range as your Versa. But I think it's a better watch. So yeah, and if you do other sports too, it does things like golf strokes, skiing. It's good for snow sports. It has really more customizability than the Fitbit. It has an altimeter. If you're if you're running uphill, so I think Garmin, this is their business now, big time, and I think that they've really shown that they want to be the king of the hill on this. So, and I do honestly, I do worry a little bit about Google's attention span. You notice that with Google, like they just lose focus. It's because they're too big. So when they bought, we loved these cameras that they bought, and they turned them into the Nest cameras. But the guy who invented the thing and the drop cams and all that stuff, he left. He said, it's too big a company. And I worry that that's going to happen to Fitbit. It's not Google's specialty. It's not even close to an important business for them. So I really worry about it. I worry also that Google bought it not for the hardware, the technology, or to promote the technology, but for the data, right? The data. And Garmin is not in the data business. So just purely on that. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Johnny Jet, travel guru, coming up. We're getting on the road again with Johnny Jet. He's our travel guru. JohnnyJet.com is his website. He survived the pandemic. He's got the double shot, and it's time to hit the road. Hi, Johnny.
Hello. 12 more days, and I'm fully vaccinated.
We've been debating in the chat room behind the scenes about what to do when you've got the vaccine, you've gone the requisite couple of weeks to build full immunity. At that point, can you just enjoy life and travel and do that, or are you going to still wear a mask?
Oh, you have to wear a mask, first of all. The CDC still tells people not to travel unless it's essential.
Still? That's got to change, though, right? If you've been vaccinated?
I mean, listen, I don't know what they're thinking, but my guess is that they're worried about these variants. They don't know if the vaccinations will protect you from them. They think they will. So I think they're just taking it step by step is what I believe.
They put out a press release this week saying that the effectiveness in the vaccines, even against variants, is very good.
Totally. They said your chances of getting it are very low and even transmitting it.
Right.
So, obviously I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on.
No, and we shouldn't. But you are a travel expert, so I want to know what. And the airlines probably still require them, right?
Oh,
that hasn't changed.
That is not going away.
They don't say, "Oh, you're vaccinated. Take off your mask. No, let your freak flag fly."
That is not going away.
Okay.
And I assume it's going to be on for at least until the fall. But yeah, the numbers are up though. I mean, yesterday, the numbers came out this morning for yesterday. They broke the record again. 1.58 million travelers went through TSA checkpoints in the U.S. yesterday.
Nice.
So
I think we're going to get back to normal probably by the fall. Don't you think?
I hope so. I really do. We need it.
I'm desperate to travel.
We'll see.
That's why.
Just what worries me is Europe and what's going on there. And
yeah, they shut down France. Germany's looking at a lockdown as well.
So let's hope that we're doing such a good job with vaccinations that we do it. So
yeah.
I'm doing my part. By the way, I wrote a tip this week about how to get an appointment for a vaccination when it's your turn. They usually load these systems at at least in the Pacific Coast, it's West Coast, it's 4 a.m. I woke up at 4 a.m. and it was wide open.
Oh, you're kidding.
Earlier today, I couldn't get an appointment at all.
Oh,
but
that's
one of my
good
friends said, get up in the middle of the night and try. And sure enough, wide open. And that was with CVS. I had a seamless experience with them. I heard Walgreens, same thing. They load their system the same way. But that's the way to do it. And also, go ahead, please.
The CDC issued new travel guidance, and among other things, they say carry your card with you, right?
For sure.
Yeah, because that's how you're going to show people that you are vaccinated.
Yeah, I have a few tips on that. So, last week we talked about some of these stores like Staples, Office Depot.
Yeah, they'll
Office
laminate
Max.
it for you.
They'll laminate for free.
Yeah.
Some people are like, don't get it laminated because, you might need a booster, but other people are like, you know what, they'll just replace them. However, I've gone to so many travel conferences, and you have too, I'm sure, and they give you all these badges. So I went into my drawer. I always keep these badges because I think I'm going to make some kind of, artwork out of them one day. I never have.
I have. It's not an artwork, but it is a clump, hundreds and hundreds of badges over the years from going to tech conferences. I'm sure you have the similar clump.
Same.
Yeah.
I should put them up there. But so I have so many protective sleeves. If you don't have them, you can get them on Amazon.
Oh, you're right. I just take one of those badges out.
For sure, especially the one that seals
it.
Exactly. Or buy it on Amazon. Also, one of my readers sent me a great tip yesterday. He went to FedEx office to get it laminated, and he had them shrink it down to a credit card size. He made 4 copies. And
nobody's going to believe it. No, they're going to look at that and say, that's a fake, dude.
Well, he keeps it just in his wallet, like a credit card, just for safety.
I do keep mine in my wallet, but now I'm thinking, maybe I should protect it a little bit. Yeah.
Right. So,
although you point out in your article, it's a medical record, and they'll replace it. They have the record of your.
It'll just be a pain to get it. You either have to go back where you got it, or contact your state's health department.
So now, along with our passports, we have to carry these.
And soon, you know what? It's going to be. They're going to have the vaccine passport, where it's going to be all digital or an app, and depending on where you go, some countries are going to require it, some won't.
Right. Well, we are seeing at least one state. I can't remember if it's New York State. I think it is starting to use an app now.
New York has just released an app on that.
Yeah.
But in Hawaii, they're talking about Hawaii now that, right now you still have to be tested, prove you're COVID negative before you get in. But they're talking about maybe in May or June, if you've been fully vaccinated, they might release that. We'll see if that happens. But one country you can go to if you're fully vaccinated as an American is Iceland. And right now, Iceland Air has a package deal, $349, which includes air and hotel.
What?
Which is insane. I mean,
$349 total?
Total from the East Coast. West Coast is a little bit more, but keep in mind that it is, once you get there, it's expensive in Iceland, but it's a beautiful country. It's one of the most beautiful. And actually right now they have an incredible webcam of the volcano. That's a live stream of this volcano that's just going off.
Well, that might be a reason not to go.
No. I've snowmobiled on top of a dormant volcano in Iceland. It was incredible.
Okay.
It was one of the best.
Show off.
I'm not showing off. Listen, I'm usually not the kind of guy who wants to take my chances.
The only reason I say it might be a reason not to go is you remember some years ago the Icelandic volcano, which erupted, and the ash and smoke halted all air travel for weeks.
6 days.
Oh,
6
a week.
days.
Okay. Yeah,
but
that was
20 countries were affected. I had to cancel my trip to Europe.
Yeah,
then.
so you remember it.
Totally. It was around this time. I think it was 2012 in April. And
wouldn't be so bad, I guess, to be stuck in Iceland for an extra week. I guess that would be okay.
No, and also talking about being stuck, one worry about traveling internationally right now is that if you do, no matter if you've been vaccinated or not, you still have to prove that you are COVID negative. So,
still have to get
72 hours
tested
before you come back. You do. And if you do test positive, you can't come home. And so I just was reading a story, actually I put it in my newsletter, about a couple of Mexico went to, they're in the US, they went down to Mexico for their honeymoon, and he tested positive, the husband, and he was vaccinated, by the way. And he had to stay there for 10 to 14 days, depending on when you test out.
But you got a good
excuse.
And you
have to pay for it.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, she had to go home because they had kids.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
Ooh. Maybe wait to go overseas for a little while.
I think that's why destinations like Hawaii, Puerto Rico, and Florida, all these places are really hot spots. But keep that in mind. Delta this week actually just said they're going to start resuming selling the middle seats. They were the last one to block the middle seat. So May 1st, expect full flights on every airline.
Who would have thought we'd be so anxious to get back in that middle seat?
I know.
I can't wait to get in the middle seat. I'm going to somewhere.
But if you are flying this month, Delta is the airline to fly since it's the middle seat will be blocked.
Yeah. I think, though, get your vaccine. Of course, nothing's 100% protective. But
totally.
I think that the fewer people who have it, eventually just kind of slows down and dies out. And that's what we want. So get the vaccine. Yeah.
California's opening up a lot, so it's a good sign.
Yeah. Do you think I'm crazy? I made a reservation to go to Mexico in October for the Day of the Dead. Do you think that's nuts? Is that too soon?
No, I think
we'll know. We'll know
depending how they do with their rollout of vaccines.
We'll know by September if it's worth it.
Hopefully, in a couple months.
Yeah, and then I could still cancel if it's not going well.
For sure.
Dr. Mom in our chat room says, "You're nuts, Leo. You're nuts."
Well, I would listen to her more than you listen to me about health.
She's my personal chat physician, so
yes.
She
has very good advice. But one of my problems is that I have 2 little kids, so I don't know. They can't get vaccinated. So
that's another issue.
Should I take the chance? I'm going to have to ask Dr. Mom that. Should I fly?
No, stay home.
I want to go see my dad, give him a hug. It's been
that's different.
14 months.
That's different. You're not going to bring it back to the kids.
And I wanted to bring him back out to California from Florida.
Oh, yeah. I know he wants to see him. JohnnyJet.com. That's his website. Newsletters are there. They're free. They're awesome. JohnnyJet.com/podcast. Got a great podcast. And, of course, his YouTube channel, Instagram channel, and Twitter. They're all great. Johnny Jet. See you next week.
See you later.
So his kids are not teens. They're in their... They're 2 and 4 or something like that.
Yes,
so
exactly. Well, I have a 19-month-old and almost a 5-year-old.
It's going to be, oh, wow. It's going to be a little while before they'll get a shot, if ever, right? I don't know if they need a shot at all.
They're not getting a shot.
No.
I mean, maybe in next year.
Yeah. They don't get flu shots either, right?
No, they do.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They give them 6 months of age. They give flu shots.
Oh, I had no idea. Wow. All right. Well, this will be like the flu shot going forward. In fact, they'll probably just give us all. I hope they come up with a common cold vaccine. It's a coronavirus, too. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Well, it seems like leave your mask on and wash your hands and social distance.
I don't want to social distance. I want to hug everybody I meet.
I haven't shaken someone's hand in over a year.
No, me neither. Last time was in March.
That blows
March
my
2nd
mind.
in St. Louis. I shook a hand, and that was the last time.
I was playing softball. I play in a softball league, and I said, "Listen, I don't think we should. We hold hands before the thing. It's a church league, and I was like, I don't think we should hold hands. And they all thought I was crazy. I said, do a fist bump, and this is like in late February or early March.
Yeah, you were early on, but you were right.
So
you were absolutely right, Mr. Jet.
Thank you very much. I'm going to work on this thing right now, updating it so it sounds better for you.
Yeah. Just, you know what? Just forget it. Close it out. Go to zoom.us, download the latest version. That way you know you have the latest version. And then go through those settings so that we get the best
If not,
sounds.
I'll email John.
Yeah. Thanks, Johnny.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
This is the only traveling I've been doing is walking around town. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo, the phone number. Mark's on the line from Studio City, California. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Leo. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm pretty good. So on my home Wi-Fi modem, I ran out of Ethernet ports for all these other devices. I have a Spectrum modem, which has one Ethernet port, but I need to plug in an Eero, an Arlo, and another home security feed.
Why do you have an Eero? Eero, and then the Arlo, and then a home. Okay, so the Arlo's a camera. The Eero's a router.
Yeah, which is great.
You're plugging a router into a router? What are you plugging it? Oh, I see. You have one modem. Yeah, so everything else should be off the router, not the modem.
Right. Okay, so I bought a TrendNet 5-port gigabit switch.
No. You don't understand.
No.
You only have one IP address, the one provided to you by Spectrum.
Right.
Everything has to have a unique IP address. So you can't have multiple devices plugged into the cable modem. That's why it doesn't have so many ports. You need to plug a router into the cable modem, which then will assign local addresses to all these other devices.
Okay.
So it's not going to work unless you buy from Spectrum IP addresses for every one of those devices, which I doubt you'll want to do.
Oh. See, I thought you could just get some kind of an Ethernet hub and plug everything in. That's what.
No, because the hub just is trying to just that's what a router means. A router takes one address and assigns it access to a bunch of other devices with local addresses, so they can all use that one address. That's what it's doing. That's why it's literally routing. It's taking the single pipe traffic coming in from your internet service provider and saying, who gets this? Who gets this? Who gets this? And it's routing it to those local addresses. That's the only way it works. So has it been working?
Well, no. The Eero's great, so that's got one out. I have another Eero downstairs.
So the Eero is a router. So now make sure, if your cable modem is also a router, then that may solve it. In fact, I suspect it might be because it has more than one Ethernet port. Usually cable modems only have one. How many Ethernet ports does it have?
One.
Yeah. That's a modem.
Yeah.
So they do, most often they will provide, Spectrum and everybody else will provide you with a modem router that does both. I don't like that because their routers usually aren't exactly state-of-the-art or kept up to date and all of that.
Right.
So I prefer to use my own, which is the Eero, which is a very good router. Now, the problem with the Eero is it only has a few ports.
One port.
Really? The base station only has one port? Mine had several. Okay.
No.
All right.
It doesn't.
Okay.
Sadly.
So, what you can do is get a switch that connects to the Eero, because that's doing the routing. And so, at that point, a switch can plug into that single Ethernet port, not into the cable modem, but into the Eero.
Right.
Let the Eero do the routing, and now you can have, I've put 24-port switches on an Eero.
And the one I got, the TrendNet 5-port gigabit, that would work out.
Yeah, you bet.
And then I could plug
and all those other things can plug into it, but it has to come out of the Eero, not the modem.
Okay.
We solved it. Yeah. Now the Arlo will work. Everything else will work.
Great. All right. Thank you so much, Leo.
My pleasure. Yeah, this is... do not feel, like, wow, I should have known better, because this is crazy. We are now, all of us, doing what used to be enterprise-grade networking at home. In the old days, you had an internet connection. It was probably a dial-up. You want to get online, and you'd be online. But then all of a sudden, we have lots of devices that all want to get online, and an internet service provider that only gives us one internet address unless you buy more, and they're expensive. So you only get one internet address. Every device has to have a unique address, so that's how this gets solved. Everything in your house has one address. The router connects to that one address, and then it assigns local addresses and does the routing of the traffic. That used to be, the domain of the IT guy, in the IT department. Now we're all IT departments. Congratulations, you're in the IT department. So, yeah, it is a little confusing, but that's the key. Everything else has to be inside the router. If it wants its own IP address, it has to be inside the router. Maurice Van Nuys is next. Hi, Maurice.
Hi, Leo. Great to be able to give you a call.
Thank you.
You guys were talking about plasma TVs when you're at the front.
Oh, the good old days. Yes.
I still have my Kuru Elite Model 151FD in mint condition, 60-inch.
Oh.
I found out a secret from a tech, because we used to use it as monitors at Columbia Pictures. He said, unplug it when you don't use it. So then nothing's bouncing around, warming up, staying ready to go. Just plug it in, use it. Once you're done, let it cool and unplug. And I still love that monitor. It's the main thing in my living room.
Do you use it for, you use it for TV. You're not using it for grading and stuff.
I use it for movies. Sometimes I have to use it from my Mac Pro for editing photography.
Yeah, because it's very accurate. Well, there's a Kuro down the hall, because Scott Wilkinson, when Pioneer said they're killing the line, Scott Wilkinson said, get this, last chance. It was the best plasma out there, and we still have our Kuro down the hall. Nobody makes them anymore.
No, and I got mine at the tail end once they fine-tuned everything.
Right, me too.
And
so you unplug it every day? Like you're done watching TV, before you go to bed, you unplug it?
I leave it unplugged from the wall, because otherwise it still keeping stuff warmed and ready.
Right. That's
which
the
causes
instant
pixel breakdown.
Instant on feature.
Right.
Most modern TVs, because you remember, you sound like you might be old enough to remember the old days. You turn on the TV, you have to wait for it to warm up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. With this one, I'll let it warm up.
You have to now. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Perfect.
I thought you'd get a kick out of it.
I appreciate it. It's great to hear the tip. Thanks, Maurice. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Have a good one. Yeah, those are beautiful old TVs. They're classics. But they don't make them anymore. And don't tell Maurice. But honestly, I think the OLEDs have even surpassed plasmas. They're certainly, I think, more color accurate, better dynamic range. I think the OLEDs are really good these days. Oh, he's still online. Shh. Julian from Los Angeles, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Julian.
Leo.
So I did, and I don't know if you heard. Our first caller was invoked your name and was complaining, quite rightly so, that people just don't pay enough attention to the needs of blind users, especially in technology, and said I should be an advocate. I continued to talk to him off the air. I did not cut him short. Well, I had to eventually, but so I'm glad you called. Julian is also blind. He supports blind users. My concern is you don't. Oh, guess what? I got to take a break. Julian, hang on the line.
Over to the top, yep.
Over the top. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More of your calls coming up. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, 8888. Ask Leo, the phone number, 888-827-5536. Love to talk to you, answer your questions, or you can help us with previous callers. That's what Julian is doing. Julian Vargas is a great resource for the show. He calls from time to time. He has basically, he asks people who are blind, he offers free help. Right, Julian? That's great. And I appreciate it.
Hello?
Yes. So let me, I understand the caller's point of view, and I don't disagree with him. Accessibility should always be a goal. But I'm not sure I agree with him when he says, the problem with touch is, blind people can't use it very well or at all, and so many devices are moving to touch. I understand that, but I wouldn't want to say let's not have touch just because blind people can't use it. You just have to provide alternate methods. What's your point of view on that?
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I mean, if we were to take that to its logical conclusion, blind people cannot drive as of yet, so should nobody drive? I mean, what would be the consequences of that?
Yeah, that's a good point. He made a good point, though, that, for instance, many cars now don't have really accessible user interfaces for their media players and so forth. And that is a good point. I mean, obviously, that's for the passenger.
It is, but and here's what it really comes down to. Just like buildings that didn't have ramps and elevators had to put them in to comply with the ADA, and now moving forward, we build everything with that in design.
And that's a great thing. Yes.
Needs to happen with technology. More and more companies really need to get the message that accessibility needs to be built in from the start, not bolted on later where it's going to be haphazard at best. So I completely agree with the sentiment that that's what needs to happen moving forward. But I don't like the idea of saying, well, if blind people can't use something right now, it shouldn't be used. I'll point out that the iPhone, the first couple of years of the iPhone, it was not accessible. It was the iPhone 3GS that first brought in voiceover accessibility, and I think it could easily be argued that it's been a game changer for blind people.
Yeah.
So if we had taken that attitude, we shouldn't embrace the iPhone because it's not accessible now, we'd be far behind now. And the iPhone has really done a lot to, I think, level the playing field for everybody. So
yeah,
I think that's the goal. It needs to be built in from the start, and the more and more people that get that message, the better off we're going to be.
A lot of it is awareness. And I think our caller was chastising me for not doing more, but I think we've done a pretty good job on this show, thanks to Julian and others like you who've called in.
I have to point out as well that you've been an excellent voice in this arena. There are a lot, and believe me, I've been on other technology shows, and you by far have been the most friendly to hearing what we have to say. You are one of the most knowledgeable as far as you being a mainstream topic. You know a lot about JAWS and about accessibility. You certainly know a lot to get somebody pointed in the right direction.
That's the key.
I think you do an excellent job, and I think
thank you.
Off to you.
You don't have to say that, Julian, but thank you. And how should people reach you? Give us the website, because the phone number's there, the email's there, and all of that. You could give out your email if you want, whatever is easiest.
It's all there. It's on www.techjv.com. That's TECH, J as in John, V as in Victor.com. All my contact info is there. You can read about what I do, as well as see other resources I put together, media appearances that I've made, and things I've contributed to. And it's all that's what I'm here for. It's to help our community. And if I could, I'd like to share an Android accessibility tip.
Yes.
We talk a lot about iPhones, but at least on the Pixel phones, and I suspect probably many others as well, Google's really done some interesting stuff. They have an app called Lookout, and also in the Google Camera app, there's something called Lens. So there's several ways to do this, but by either going to this app or going to Google Lens from the Google Camera, you can put it in a mode where it'll recognize things and tell you what they are. It'll read you text instantly. It'll recognize barcodes. It'll give you a lot of information, and this is all for free if you have an Android device.
They demonstrated that a couple of years ago at Google I/O, and one of the things they demonstrated with was not a blind person, but an illiterate person, a person who had grown up without learning how to read, and she felt really bad because she always had to ask friends, relatives, family members to read even simple signs for her, and the fact that she could pull out her phone and have it read a sign to her, she said really changed her life. And I think that's another, not everybody isn't all alike in this world. We all are different. And we just have to be aware of that and I think help each other, and that's great. Julian's site is really good. I noticed that you added COVID resources too that's screen reader accessible. I think that's fantastic. AskJV.com. Sorry?
TechJV.
TechJV. I got it wrong. TechJV. That's why I always ask you, because I always forget. TechJV.com. Thank you, Julian. I really appreciate it. I know Kim Schaffer doesn't forget it because she hands out that information to anybody who calls who wants more information. So feel free to call us. 8888 Ask Leo. It's great to hear from you as always. You don't want technology. The whole point of technology, frankly, is to give everybody power, right? The kind of power only big companies had in years gone by. And make sure, if you're going to empower people, you got to empower everybody. And I think the big companies have done a very good job. His initial question was about Linux, which is kind of interesting. An open source project is, for the most part, put together by volunteers, people who, they say, scratch their own itches. They write software. They do stuff that works for, to make their stuff work better. And it's a little bit of a catch-22, because if you don't write an accessible operating system, you're not going to have blind users writing more stuff. So the good news is there's some companies like Red Hat who have done actually a good job of building in this kind of stuff, because they're a company and they realize this is good for everybody. And that stuff maybe will jumpstart Linux to be even more accessible. There's now open source screen readers, a lot of interesting things showing up in Linux, just as they have in Microsoft's Windows and Mac OS. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Press the button, Professor. Thank you. I can't go anywhere until she presses that button. We'll have more of your calls right after this. This is apparently the new theme for Space Jam, A New Legacy. The trailer has just been released, featuring LeBron James and the Toon Squad. And because apparently Professor Laura grew up to Space Jam, she's very, very excited. It's interesting. You can really tell a person's age. I mean, down to a couple of years by the TV shows they like, the movies they remember, the music they remember. It's, I feel like if you wanted to have a carnival act, you could say, okay, what's your favorite song? What's your favorite TV show? What's your favorite movie? And you could tell a person's age. You just know. 88, I don't even remember Space Jam. I'm too young. 88, don't laugh. That's not nice to laugh at, man. You're at my age. 8888, ask Leo. Jeff is on the line from Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada. Hello, Jeff. Jeff, come on over. Come on over to the phone. Are you there, Jeff? Oh, I picked up the wrong line. Jeff, hang on, you're next. Diane from Norco. Sorry. Hi, Diane. Hi, Diane.
Hi.
Hey, I'm sorry. Welcome.
Thank you.
No wonder you didn't say anything. I was calling you Jeff. That's not your name. What can I do for you, Diane?
No, it's not.
No.
So I have kind of a weird situation. A little before Christmas, somebody used my credit card without my knowledge and happened to order an iPhone that then a few weeks later appeared on my doorstep.
Well, at least they had it shipped to you.
Well, I think that Apple just shipped it to the billing address.
Yeah. Whoops.
And so we without knowing whatever, we had disputed the charges with the credit card company.
Ah.
Been disputed now for, the better part of 3 months. So I called Apple and said, what do I do with this thing? And they're like, I don't know, use it. I'm not an Apple person, so I have a nice iPhone 12 Pro Max, 128 gigs.
Oh, yeah. Somebody was, probably they bought it to sell it, and so they bought the top of the line, hoping to get the most price for it. I presume you've, of course, changed that credit card out.
Oh, yeah. We took care of that.
And you've checked the other charges on the card. I'm surprised that the credit, you just don't call, if you call the credit card company and say it's a fraudulent charge, I didn't buy this, I would think that they'd immediately take it off. I don't know why they'd have to investigate. It's a fraudulent charge.
Well, yeah, and so the credit card company is not a problem. My question is, what do I do with the phone?
Well, if Apple doesn't want it, and you don't want it, apparently, I mean, obviously, the obvious answer would be use it, but you don't want it. You have no interest in it.
I'm not an Apple person whatsoever.
Like it's funny, my daughter's like that. She says it just like that. I am not an Apple person whatsoever. She hates it.
I've been doing PC since DOS.
Yay. Yay.
And Android since I moved from BlackBerry, so.
Yeah. So why would you want an iPhone?
Right.
Is there no one in your family that wants an iPhone? That's a fancy phone.
Well, that was kind of my question was, if I give it to a friend who needs a new phone, we go through the whatever setup process. I don't know.
No problem. It's not tied to you.
Okay.
Give them the receipt so they have it. The other thing you could do, I can't believe Apple doesn't want it back. They're going to.
Well, I called and the guy was kind of an idiot, and it was
that's the problem.
You don't have a receipt, so you can't return it.
That's the problem. I don't know what the legality is of this at this point. You could bring it to Apple and they would give you, I don't know if they'd give you cash for it. You could sell, there are lots of people, it's a brand new phone, it's unopened. You could sell it on eBay and get most of that money probably.
Okay.
But the credit card company refunded you, or will if they have, they did. I'm surprised at that point they didn't say, it's fallen through a crack, a loophole in the financial system of the United States of America, you have a phone that almost literally fell out of the sky into your lap.
Yes.
I think there are many things you could do with it. If you wanted the money, you probably could sell it. It's unopened. It's probably worth a lot. I don't think Apple does not tie it to you in any way, unless
they wouldn't. If I go to activate it with
no, it won't. It won't be. They'll ask you at that point who you are. The only thing you might look at the label, it'll say if it is assigned to a carrier.
It does not appear to be.
It doesn't say Verizon or T-Mobile or anything like that.
And the charges were from Apple themselves.
Yeah, but when Apple sells a phone, they sell it in a variety of flavors. They're all the same phone, but it comes with a SIM in it, and it's kind of associated with a phone company. They also sell an unlocked version that's associated with nobody. So if you got the unlocked version, it's yours to do whatever you wish with. I bet you I could find you 10 people who would buy it for $800, $900 right now.
I'm sure, but
Kim wants it. Kim Schaffer is saying she wants it. She'll take it. It's a brand new phone. Now you might. Which phone are you using right now? Which Android phone?
The Note 9.
Okay, so we're up to a little more recent than that.
Yeah, I just finally got to the point on my contract that I wasn't paying for the phone itself.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Notes.
It's still working fine, and the battery is still holding, so
There are people listening to you, Diane, are going, Diane! Give me that phone! It's interesting. The bad guy really screwed up. He shipped it to the wrong place. So you could sell it. You could give it to somebody. It is not associated with you in any way.
Okay.
But what I would... Oh, and you have a receipt? No, you don't have a receipt.
No.
So it's not associated with you in any way. The only thing is if somebody then needed a repair on the phone and brought it in, Apple might say, for a warranty repair, you need the receipt.
Okay.
But, they got it for free, so... It is possible, somebody's saying this in the chat room, it is the case, if Apple has marked it as the serial number is stolen, you won't be able to activate it. So I think the best... You'd find that out the minute they try to turn it on, and then bring it back to Apple and say, hey, dudes, what do you give me for this? I know you don't even want to set foot in an Apple store because it is anathema to you, but it's technically, it probably is theirs, even though the nitwit you talked to didn't know that.
That's kind of what I was thinking. That's why I called you. Are
you on TikTok?
What do I do?
Because you could become a TikTok star. Put it in a blender or something. Chainsaw it. Have some fun. No, don't do that. It's worth too much. I wonder if it's possible, since Apple, the charge got bounced back to Apple. It ultimately cost Apple. It may be that they have recorded the serial number and the IMEI number, and as a result, that phone would not be activated. That's, what? Now that I think of it, knowing Apple, because they're such jerky jerks, that's probably what they did, because it isn't really it is a stolen phone in effect. Yeah,
and that's why it was like, is there any harm or foul in?
There's no harm or foul. I think legally you're the owner at this point, but Apple might invoke some sort of technical. So yeah, try to give it to your friend wants it, right?
I haven't even approached, but I would assume so.
Yeah, so let her activate it and then say, just hey, here it is. If you have any trouble, let me know, because I have a feeling they may not activate it. That would be it. Other than that, it's not associated with you. It's associated with fraud.
So, real quick, can I...
Hold on a sec. I have to take a break, but hang on. I'll talk to you off the air. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I am not giving legal advice. Let me say that up front. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not even Bill Handel.
Could I use it just like I do with my old Android phones for various other purposes?
Oh, yeah. Actually, that's an interesting idea. You could use it as a music player. You could use the camera. You don't have to put a phone, use it as a phone. Most people don't anymore. So it's a very good camera. You could use it. Think of it as you got a point and shoot camera in the mail. It's an excellent camera. It's a music player. You can put your music on it. I mean, there's lots of things you can do with it. Yeah, 128 gigs. Huh? Yeah, that's a lot of storage. It's like an iPod. Do you ever own an iPod?
No.
Well, you really don't like Apple.
No, they're too controlling.
Yeah, no, I understand 100%. Completely understand.
I want my own control.
Yeah, sure you do. I understand that. Give it to, tell a friend you can explain the story, say it may not activate because Apple may have blacklisted that serial number. I think that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Knowing how controlling they are.
Then I'll use it like a little baby because it's half the size of a tablet.
I know. It is a little tablet, isn't it? But, I understand if you have a Note, you love the Note. I owned every Note. I really love the Note. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm perfectly happy with it, and as long as it behaves, the only thing it's doing is that I keep getting people telling me, your phone's cutting out, and I'm like sitting right here, right next to my Wi-Fi router.
Yeah, that's another story entirely. I don't think it's the Note's problem at all.
Okay.
Thank you, Diane.
All right, sir, thank you very much.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thanks.
You got your money back. That's the main thing. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can buy a Note 20.
Well, I'll have fun with this.
All right. Take care. Yeah, that's a really interesting question. Let's call Bill Handel. Hey, Dickie D. Look how
hey,
good
Leo,
you
how you
look.
doing?
You look Zoomalicious.
Oh, thank you.
These Zoom calls, they're fantastic.
Perfect.
It is somebody's saying it's unjust enrichment. That's the technical term. It's unjust enrichment. And Apple I know Apple's entitled to request payment, but she called them and they didn't. It might be worth taking to an Apple store, but there's the risk that just take it. Unjust enrichment.
No, I think your idea to use it as a Wi-Fi device is great.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
It could be a security phone.
I suspect that Apple or somebody's going to want it back, but I don't know. I think it's funny that she called Apple and they said, I don't know, keep it. I don't know.
Maybe when the bean counter.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
What, you told her to
that's
keep
exactly
it? What, are you kidding?
Right. Yep. Yeah. She didn't commit fraud. No. So you can check to see if it's blacklisted and enter the is my iPhone blacklisted? Free IMEI at imei24.com. Oh, look at that. You can enter in the IMEI and check if it's blacklisted. And this is for people buying them.
Well, that's
There's a
good
GSMA database. I don't know if it would cover every possible blacklisting. That's interesting. I had my my groove thing removed, but Dick's shaking his groove thing. Dick DeBartolo is here. Disco Dick, we call him. He is the GizWiz, the guy who joins the show every week, shares a gizmo or a gadget with us. Longtime disco fan and Mad Magazine writer. Hello, Dickie D.
Leo, how are you, pal?
Fantastic. How are you?
I am good, too. So I want to ask you,
yes.
I think you once bought a water-powered flashlight, right?
No, I don't know who you're thinking of. Why would I? What? Water-powered?
Yeah, okay. Did you not buy a Hydrolite like 3 years ago?
No.
The Hydrolite? Okay.
It must have been Chad.
Okay.
It wasn't me.
Okay. All right. So Hydrolites are little, actually, this is kind of interesting. This is a little LED that has an endless shelf life and only works when you need it. You dunk it in water up to a line on the flashlight.
Yeah.
And then the flashlight should last for 72 hours.
Do you have to leave it in the water?
No, you just dip it in for 15 seconds. And then you take it out. Now, it's not terribly bright. I put a video on my website. It's not incredibly bright. The good thing about this, first of all...
Neither am I, so I might buy this. I can understand why you thought I might buy it.
Yeah. So the thing is, the quality is all over the place. I bought a bunch of them, and like 3 of them are bright, 2 of them are sort of bright. But this is a great emergency thing. Assuming you can find water, all you do is peel, and it has to be fresh water. I thought, this is great for the boat. I'll just dip it
you
into
can't dunk it in salt water. No.
Not salt water.
No, okay.
So you just put half of it in. There's a little line right on the LED light.
Yeah.
And then once you take it out, you have a light. It has 2 little LEDs at the top. And I think it's good for emergencies. And then I thought, you know what? From you get what you pay for. Oh, well, first of all, I should say you get 3 of them for like $12.50.
All right. Okay.
So they're like $4.
What is in it? What kind of magic material?
You know what? It is some kind of cell power magic thing. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's the scientific name.
Yeah, exactly.
That one looks pretty bright. The one you just did on the video.
Yes. Now that one looks bright.
Does it dim over the 72 hours?
Yes, it does. But what's bizarre, it says if it gets dim, dip it in water again.
It needs more water.
It needs more water.
It's thirsty.
Oh, and this is the other thing. I showed this to Chad, and Chad said that once the chemical thing begins, it doesn't matter if you shut it off or not, because there will be no power after 72 hours. But for laughs, I left 2 of them on and 2 of them off.
Yeah.
Now this one's off.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at. There is a little bit of light in this. This is the 6th day. I activated this on Monday, kept it in the off position. So in theory, it should have been dead in 72 hours. But it's not.
I am being very judicious and avoiding all jokes about that because it has not risen. It is still working. It's kind of like the rover on Mars. It just you just can't. It just keeps going. Keeps going and going and going.
Okay.
I wonder what is in it. Does it say what's
I don't know.
magical?
But then I thought this was interesting. I thought, you know what? What if you paid $12 for just one of them? How much better would it be? Well, I am out like $8.
So you bought a more expensive version.
I bought the $12 version. I know because it said Red Cross on it. Right away, it's going to be double price.
Money goes to the Red Cross, probably.
It does not work.
That's the ones they sell to the government.
You know what? I bet
you got the government price.
I think you're absolutely right. It runs more like 48 hours, and it's 3 times the price of the cheap ones. I think you're right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it says on it, government use only. You're absolutely You're absolutely
so don't buy the government ones.
No, don't buy the Eaton Red Cross one.
Oh, that's interesting. So that's a different company, Eaton.
Well, you know what?
Eaton stuff. I like their stuff. I have their radios.
Oh, they make great. They make a bunch of those crank radios.
Yeah.
For emergencies.
I have one. I'm still waiting for the emergency, but I have one. Oh. Yeah. Maybe I'll get some. Maybe I'll get some dunkable flashlights as well.
Yeah.
I have never heard of this. It wasn't me because I've never heard of this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, keep in mind that they're not too bright, but I think having a couple around. For $4 is a reasonable thing to throw into an emergency kit.
Or as somebody in the chat room is saying, emerge and see. Or actually submerge and see. It's a submergency kit.
Submergency. Let's sell them that.
That would be a better name.
It would be
so much of a better name. You'll find a link to this on their website. actually Dick's website, GizWiz.biz, GizWiz.biz. If you click the button that says the GizWiz visits the tech guy. But there's lots of other things as you're browsing around, gadgets that Dick brings to ABC's World News Now every month. There's all sorts of Mad Magazine memorabilia and GizWiz hats, and Dick loves anything with an LED in it, so you can get a hat with an LED in it, all kinds of things. And the contest, I should not forget about that, the What the Heck Is It contest, a close-up picture of some sort of gizmo or gadget. If you identify it correctly, you're in the drawing for 6 autographed Mad magazines. And even if you get it wrong, if you're clever about the wrong answer, there's 12 autographed Mad magazines for those folks. What Mad magazine are we playing for, Johnny Olson? Oh,
we are playing for the...
you waited for Johnny to say, didn't you?
No, that's very funny.
Well,
and
Dick,
no turtle locks involved. So
they're playing
right.
Which one?
You'll be playing for the June issue.
June issue.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is the contest that's still running. You're playing for the April issue.
April. Okay.
Yeah.
GizWiz.biz. Thank you, Dickie D. Always a great pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
I'll see you next week.
See you next week. Have a happy Easter. Do you do anything?
Oh, thank you.
Do you do anything? Do you hide eggs or anything?
No, we're still trying to find the ones from 8 years ago, and I hope we find it. The smell is leading us to
yes,
them.
the 1,000-year-old eggs. You could probably sell them to a Chinese restaurant. You'll find it. You'll find somebody. Thank you, Dickie D. Happy
Okay,
Easter.
buddy.
All right, take care. For our caller Diana, chat room has said there are places you can go, and this is actually a good tip, to check to see if a company has put the phone's IMEI, its unique identifier, on a blacklist because it was lost or stolen. This keeps criminals from reusing it. Apple may or may not use this, I don't know, but if you go to, for instance, one of them I found, IMEI24.com, the IMEI number should be on the box in the I think they put it on the label on the box. It's also, when you turn on the phone, you should see it under About. And you can see if it's been reported lost or stolen to the GSMA, the GSM Association's database. That might be a start. If it is, you won't be able to use it. Apple doesn't use it. Okay, carriers do. So much for that. Just a little tip. Good to know, though, if you're thinking about buying a used phone. Thank you, Professor Laurel, musical director, for bringing back Tag Team and all that great music. Thanks, of course, to Kim Schaffer, who would very much like Diana's phone. Kim is our phone angel. Thanks to all of you for joining us, for being here. Couldn't do the show without you. I hope you'll come back again next week. If I don't see you tomorrow, have a wonderful Easter. And all I can say is, Leo Laporte, the tech guy, have a safe, great Geek Week. Bye-bye. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWiT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.